you ever been driving down the highway and suddenly found yourself behind a brand new truck that costs more than most people's houses? You know the one I'm talking about, the gleaming monster with chrome everything, leather seats that probably cost more than your monthly rent, and a payment that would make your mortgage broker weep. And here's the thing that really gets me. The person driving it probably makes less money than you do. So what is going on here? How are regular people somehow affording these astronomical car payments that seem to defy basic mathematics? If you ever wondered how your neighbor can afford that $70,000 pickup truck while complaining about grocery prices, you're in the right place. Before we dive into the mechanics of how people are pulling this off, let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with here. The average new car payment in America has crossed into territory that would have been considered absolutely insane just a decade ago. We are talking about monthly payments that exceed what many people pay for rent. Yet somehow, millions of Americans are signing on the dotted line every single month, driving off the lot in vehicles that cost more than the median household income. Here is where it gets interesting. Most of these people aren't secretly millionaires hiding their wealth. They aren't crypto billionaires or trust fund babies. They are teachers, nurses, mechanics, retail workers, and office employees. Regular folks with regular jobs who somehow found a way to make the numbers work, or at least they think they did. The truth is, there is a whole system designed to make these impossible payments seem possible. Understanding how this system works isn't just about satisfying curiosity, it's about protecting yourself from making a financial decision that could derail your future for the next 7 to 10 years. How much are we actually talking about here? When I tell people the average car payment numbers, they usually assume I'm making them up. The average new car payment has climbed to over $700 per month. That is not for a luxury vehicle or some exotic sports car. That is the average payment for a regular new car purchased by a regular person. It gets worse when you start looking at trucks and SUVs, which have become the default choice for most American buyers. These payments routinely exceed $900 per month, and it is not uncommon to see payments over $1,200 every single month for 6, 7, or even 8 years. We are talking about payments that total more than $80,000 over the life of the loan, and that is before you factor in insurance, maintenance, and fuel costs. You might be thinking, well, maybe people are just making a lot more money these days. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is not what's happening at all. The median household income has increased, sure, but nowhere near enough to justify these payment amounts using traditional financial wisdom. So how are people doing it? The answer lies in a combination of factors that have fundamentally changed how Americans approach car buying. None of these factors are necessarily good news for the people signing these loan documents. First, let's talk about loan terms. Remember when a car loan was 3 years, maybe 4 if you really stretched it? Those days are as dead as the flip phone. Today's car loans routinely stretch 6, 7, or even 8 years into the future. Some lenders are even offering 10-year car loans, which sounds like something from a financial horror movie. The appeal is obvious. If you spread that $60,000 truck payment over 8 years instead of 4, the monthly payment drops significantly. Suddenly, that truck that would have required a $1,500 monthly payment over 4 years becomes manageable at $900 over 8 years. The monthly number looks reasonable, which is exactly what the buyer focuses on. But here's what most people don't think about. By extending the loan term, they aren't just lowering the monthly payment, they are dramatically increasing the total amount they will pay for the vehicle. That $900 payment over 8 years adds up to over $86,000 compared to about $72,000 if they had taken the 4-year loan. That's an extra $14,000 just for the privilege of having a lower monthly payment. Even worse, they'll be making payments on that truck long after it's worth a fraction of what they paid for it, trapping them in negative equity. The second major factor is the rise of 0% financing and other promotional interest rates. Walk into any dealership and you'll see signs advertising 0% APR for qualified buyers. It sounds like free money. However, the cost of that financing is usually built into the price of the vehicle. You're either paying full price for the car to get 0% financing, or you're getting a discount on the car and paying market rate interest. You rarely get both. Furthermore, these offers come with strict requirements, meaning the people who qualify could likely afford to pay cash anyway. For everyone else, interest rates on these extended loans can be substantial. Then there's the trade-in game. Someone buys a new car with a 7-year loan. After 3 or 4 years, they get tired of it, but they still owe more than the car is worth. So they roll that negative equity into a new loan for an even more expensive vehicle. This creates a cycle where people are constantly paying for cars they no longer own while taking on debt for new ones. It's a financial hamster wheel. The faster you run, the further behind you get. Dealers love this because it creates customers for life who can't afford to break the cycle. Perhaps the most concerning trend is how normalized these extreme car payments have become. People who would never dream of spending $1,200 a month on coffee or clothes somehow convince themselves it's reasonable for transportation. This is the result of decades of marketing that has convinced Americans that their vehicle is an extension of their identity. Your truck isn't just transportation, it's a statement that you are successful, reliable, and hardworking. The automotive industry has become incredibly sophisticated at tapping into these psychological triggers. They don't sell cars anymore, they sell lifestyles. That commercial showing the rugged truck climbing mountains is selling you the fantasy that you are the kind of person who climbs mountains, even if the closest you get to off-roading is parking on the grass at the county fair. This emotional manipulation makes it easy to justify irrational payments as an investment in yourself. Let's get back to the practical mechanics, even with extended terms. $700 to $1,200 is a lot of money. Many people are essentially restructuring their entire financial lives around their car payment. I've seen people move to smaller apartments, stay with roommates longer, eat ramen noodles for lunch, skip vacations, and avoid restaurants just to support a car payment that consumes 25 to 30% of their take-home income. Some take on second jobs, driving for rideshare companies or delivering food just to pay for the car they use to do the job. It's a bizarre form of automotive indentured servitude. Others dip into retirement accounts or take loans against their 401k, borrowing from their future selves to fund current transportation fantasies. The most concerning trend is people taking out personal loans or home equity loans to cover down payments. They're leveraging their homes, assets that should build wealth, to buy cars, which are depreciating assets. Most people completely underestimate the auxiliary costs. Insuring a $60,000 truck costs significantly more than a sedan. For families with multiple vehicles, insurance premiums can approach $500 monthly. Then there's maintenance. Modern trucks are complex machines. A simple brake job can cost $800 to $1,200, and transmission problems can run $5,000. Many people with these payments have zero emergency funds, so these repairs end up on credit cards. And don't forget fuel. Driving a truck that gets 15 miles per gallon can easily result in fuel costs exceeding $400 per month. Let's look at the terrifying math. Imagine someone buys a $55,000 truck with a 7-year loan at 6% interest. The monthly payment is about $800. Over the life of the loan, they pay $67,000. Add $21,000 for insurance, $29,000 for fuel, and $15,000 for maintenance over 7 years. When you add it all up, this person will spend over $130,000 on transportation over 7 years. At the end, they own a vehicle worth maybe $15,000. They have essentially paid $130,000 for the privilege of driving a $15,000 truck. That is wealth destruction, with cup holders. If they had invested that $800 monthly payment in an index fund earning 8%, they would have over $70,000 after 7 years. Once someone commits to these payments, they develop automotive Stockholm syndrome. They become emotionally attached to their financial captor. The truck becomes a reflection of their hard work, and driving something cheaper feels like admitting failure. The mystery of how people afford these payments isn't a mystery at all. It's a carefully orchestrated system of extended loans, emotional manipulation, and financial gymnastics. People aren't affording these payments, they are kicking the can down the road. So the next time you see someone driving a vehicle that costs more than your house, remember, they're probably eating cereal for dinner to afford it. And maybe, just maybe, that reliable used car in your driveway isn't looking so bad after all.